So I'm here with Jack Bruijn, Director of Risk Management at Echa, at our Global Supply Chain Conference. Jack, what's the most important thing for you in terms of supply chain communications at present?
Well, for us, supply chain communication and collaboration actually is really important in order to get the functioning of REACH really up to speed. Because one part of REACH is really about getting the right information, which in particular the registrants have to take care of. But the other part is, of course, to make sure that that information in terms of safety advice ends up on the, let's say, in the companies who actually are using the chemicals. So that's why the supply chain communication is really essential if we want to improve human health and environmental, let's say, conditions.
And looking at the situation at present, where would you say the kind of weak spots are in terms of supply chain communications?
I think we've done a lot of work together also with industry and the member states to really get the first parts, let's say, working better. So getting better chemical safety assessments, getting better tools to actually make sure that the safety data sheets are functioning better. We haven't spent enough time yet on the actual supply chain, down the supply chain area. We haven't looked enough at what companies at company level can do with the information and how they can practically implement that in their companies and make sure that actually the risk management which is advised to them is actually making sense and actually can help to improve the situation. And that's an area which for the next years we're going to work more on.
And you mentioned before that you need to look closer at the sectors. Could you say how Echa plans to do that?
Yes, we are working under the what's called the ANS network, so the network on exposure scenarios, very closely together with industry organizations. And what we have been developing there is what we call use maps, and basically what we ask the sector organizations to supply information, provide information how chemicals are actually used in the specific sectors they are representing, because they have the best knowledge about what is the normal technical measures and the normal risk management which is in place for different sectors. But we need that information to go up the supply chain to the companies who actually have to do the chemical safety assessment. And that's where these use maps are very essential for. But the actual work has to be done by the sector organizations. It cannot come from the manufacturers and suppliers.
Yeah, and how does Echa reach those sector organizations?
Well, we of course again use the ANS network, work closely with them, but we plan actually to start talking to sectors more extensively. In this area that's very important, but it also relates to the fact that we need better information about which chemicals are used in which kind of articles, in which kind of, let's say, high exposure situations, in order also to, let's say, improve our priority setting for the compliance check areas, which is the screening activities I've been talking about earlier today.
And what kind of time frame do you see that happening on?
This is going to take a couple of years, I think. Yes, we are continuously working on that, but we have a limited amount of resources available to do this kind of work. But we definitely think it's very important to continue.
And you mentioned during your presentation earlier on that a specific pilot project on the kind of benefits of supply chain communication to companies.
Yes, this is a very interesting project which is really at the start, because what we're there trying to do is see how we can use information coming from REACH through the safety data sheets, how companies can use that also to comply with other legislation, for instance the Industrial Emissions Directive or Occupational Health and Safety legislation. And we're really practically looking with companies how the information can be used to help them to do other work as well. And I think that can save, in the end, if we get this right, can save people a lot of time and energy, and maybe take away some of the, let's say, general concerns about the high regulatory burden which is put on them. And I think if we get that really functioning, I think we can do something useful here. Yeah. But it's very early, as I said, it's the first project we're trying out, and we'll see how it works. But the company who has been working with us was quite enthusiastic as well, so it's promising. Yeah.